So this is what we want to achieve in today's class. When you click on the search, it can find everything in the table. But if you enter a search criteria, for instance, AD, and hit the enter key, it's going to filter based on the search criteria you entered. For instance, you enter NG, it's find for Nigeria and Ghana. And also take note that it's not searching based only on description, it's searching across the entire field. So in case of Nigeria, we have, for instance, we have a match here, NG. And if I enter AI, it also match Indian. You can see India and Ghana. And you see India here as well. So you enter US and it matches for US, and enter only U, it matches for USA, and every other thing that has you. So you have you here, you have you here. So this is a full column search, a full column field search, searches through all the field and fetches data. So that's what we are going to be doing today. So there are three steps we are going to be taking today. We are going to first create the form, that is the search box here, and the search field and the search button. And the step 2, we are going to be working on the repository to actually write the query in the repository. And step 3, we are going to be modifying the controller method. So let's go ahead to do it now. So I'm going to put away this one because this is not actually the one we are working with. And let's get started. Meanwhile, hope you don't mind I'm putting on this cap. This is a new cap I got today. I don't know how it looks, but let me know if it looks good. Please let me know in the comment box below. And also, if you like my videos, please consider subscribing. Leave me a comment, let me know how you feel, and also let's continue from here. So we are going to be doing part 46. It says filtering data. So that's what we are going to be doing today. And we have a few remaining, but we are going to see how we can speed it up at some point. The next part we are going to be doing paging. All right, so let's go ahead to get started now. So I'm going to go here and open FleetMS version 2, which is the one we are working with right now. So in our application, in the current one we are working with, we actually don't have this functionality. So if I go ahead to run it, you see that we don't really have the functionalities. If I open Google Chrome and go to HTTP localhost port 8081, and I go to the parameters and go to parameters home countries, you see we don't have these features right here. So let's do the first step. The first step is that we are going to be going to the countries table and the countries template, and we are going to be adding the form field. So I'm going to look for countries. So it's going to be countries, to be this one. And we are going to be adding somewhere in the header here, we are going to be adding countries. So let me take a look. So here we have new country. We are going to be adding one more. So let me just show you how it works. So here we have this panel body. We will just have to add a div here. Let's add a div here. Class is equal to row. So it's going to be a row. And inside this row, we are going to be having maybe 1 or 2 columns. So I'm going to actually copy where I have it, or maybe just take a look at where I have it. So we are going to be having 12 units for that column. So we can actually say we want to use 6 units here, 3 units, and 4 units. So let's go ahead to do it. So I'm going back to the page. So here I have called LG6. Okay, so this is one column, and I'm going to just have 2 more columns. So I'm going to copy this and paste. So we have 2 more columns. So this add new button now, I'm going to put it in the first column. So there's a first column, put this add new button. So in this second column, I'm going to add a text box, and this last column, I'm going to add a button. So here I'm going to have type is equal to text, and the name is going to be keyword. Okay, and for the last one, meanwhile I have LG6, so I'm going to have maybe LG3, and here we have LG3, and for this one I have input type is equal to submit. Okay, perfect. And now we are going to enclose this form, these 2 items, the field and the button, in a form tag. And to do that, I'm simply going to just add a form here. Sorry, not this form, but form. So it's going to be form, and I'm going to enclose the two items in a form tag like this. All right. Okay. So at this point, we can simply take a look on how it appears in the UI, because normally if you are working on the UI, it's always a good practice to always check how it looks if you've done a bit of work. So I'm going to refresh the page, and you can see what we have. Not looking so good, but at least we have something. So to correct this, we can just say class is equal to, for the input class, class is equal to form control. And we can do the same thing for the button. Class is equal to btn, let's use btn primary, I mean btn sort size, and that should be it. So I'm going to check how it looks like. So let's see how it looks like. If it looks okay, I'm going to continue and then allow you to maybe take some time to work it out yourself, maybe do a bit of cleanup. And now I think it should be okay. It's fairly okay. And also let me just make this one form control as well. Form control. So at this point, we should know that we've completed everything about the UI. Now, when you click on the submit button, it's going to send the keyword in the text field to the controller. Now, the controller point where you're going to be sending the keyword is going to return you a list of filtered data. So we are going to be sending this keyword to the same endpoint that returns all the employees. But this time, we are going to be checking whether the keyword exists. If the keyword exists, then we are going to do the filtering and send a filtered record. So what I'm going to do now in this form control, I'm going to say action is equal to, it's parameters slash countries, but we are going to be using time leaf, so it's going to be at, and I'm going to open curly braces and of course close curly braces right here. And the method we are going to be using, actually we can just do without the method because it can actually be get or post, because in this case we are posting something and we're also getting something as well. So we can actually say method is equal to post. It's okay. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now is to write the method in the repository to actually do the filtering. What do I mean? So if I go to the repository, for instance, the repository should be in src main java here, no, not here. src main java, I'm going to parameters, I'm going to the repositories, and we are talking about the country repository. Now what we are going to be doing now is to write an SQL query. Of course, you know that if you want to filter data in a database, you need to write SQL query. Now JpaRepository provides us a way to be able to extend JpaRepository and actually write SQL query right here in the repository interface to fetch any kind of data we want. So that's the approach we're going to be using. There's also another method called specifications we're going to be talking about later. This is more or less an advanced topic, but for now, it suffices that you know how to use query. So we are going to be returning a list of countries, and I'm going to get by keyword. Now get by keyword is not available, so we are going to be writing it, and we are going to be having string the keyword entered. Okay, so this is the repository method that returns a list of countries by keyword. Now we are now going to use the query annotation to actually write the query that actually runs against the underlying database and returns the actual data we need. So we are going to say value is equal to, and here we are going to now write our query. So if I say, for instance, at this place, I say select C, let's see, country C from country, if I'm not mistaken, select country C from country. So this is going to return everything, okay? Select C from country C. I think this should be the correct way to write it. Yeah, so this is the way to write it. It's going to return everything. If you want, we can actually test it out, but that would be a waste of time. Now, the important thing now is to add a filter, okay? So what I'm going to do now if I add a filter, for instance, I say where, put a where clause, and I'm going to go to the next line. Now it will be where the column is equal to the keyword. So let's just take for instance, just take for instance where the column C, let's assume C is a column, is like. So we are going to be using a like clause because we don't know what the user types, so we can't use exactly something exactly. So it's going to be like, and specify the percentage sign, and in between here you are going to now specify like this. So what this means is this one here means the first parameter, and here we have only one parameter, which is a keyword. So it's going to be where C like, and we have this. So okay, you can actually say C dot any of these fields. Okay, so if I say C the description, that will be fine. But now we want to search across both the description, the capital, and everything. You can actually press C like one, or, so you can actually say here, or let's say C the capital like, and specify again the second. Let me just correct this. Okay, let's do this like this. So in this case, what happens here is it's going to search in the description and the capital fields. Okay, but let's come back to this. Let's complete it by going now to the service and the controller to write the methods. So having done this, we are going to modify this to search across all the remaining fields. But for now, let's just go to the service and write the same method. So I'm going to go to country service. I'm going to say public list of country, and it's going to be find by keyword, and it's going to have string keyword. Okay, so we are going to simply return, just increase the font, we are going to return country repository dot find by keywords. Is it find by keyword? So let's just check. Okay, I say get by keyword, right? So let me just change it to find by keyword. Okay, so it's going to be the find by keyword, and I'll give it the keyword. Okay, this is fine. Now we are going to go to the controller as well, because the controller is where the request is actually coming. So let me go to the controller. So I'm going to go to country controller. Now I need to pay attention to what I'm going to do here. Now, when you have the keyword to be the name of the field, or the keyword to be a certain name, it means that that name is signed to the controller. Okay. What I'm saying in effect is, if you go to the countries where we have this keyword, so this name, the value in that name, in that text box that has this name, is going to be sent to the controller, and the controller is going to capture it as a parameter with the name. So what it means is, if we go to the country controller right now, if we are sending a get request here or a post request, actually I'm going to remove that method. We are going to check if the keyword was sent, if the keyword was set. If the keyword is null, is not sent, then it's okay, we are sending all the countries. So what I'm going to say in effect is, I'm going to come here. So I'm going to say here, country, sorry, let's see. So I'm going to say, so let me just declare this separately as list country. So I'm going to make this declaration separately. Okay, so now we are going to assign these countries based on whether the keyword is set. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to say if keyword, if the keyword, so the keyword is actually going to be, let me see, it's going to be here as a parameter, so it's going to be string keyword. So if the keyword is null, so if the keyword is null, okay, we are going to return everything like this. If the keyword is null, we are going to actually say countries is equal to like this. That's when the keyword is null, we are going to fetch everything and assign. We are going to say else. It means that the keyword is assigned, else we are going to now fetch based on the keyword. So I'm going to say countries is equal to country service dot find by keyword and give it the keyword. Okay. So in this case now we have a condition that's going to be checked. So if it's null, it means that nothing is entered that is going to return everything. But if it's not null, it's going to return the whole, it's going to return the filtered records. Normally, I can actually change this to ternary operator, so I'm going to simply remove this. If it's equal to null, then I'm going to return all, else I'm going to return this. Okay, so this should be it, and I'm going to take out this. So in this case, I'm using a ternary operator, and I'm going to remove this. So I hope this is a bit clear. So if this is clear for you, that's fine. If not, rewind the video and actually use the other one. So here we are saying that if the country, if countries is equal to, it's going to check if the keyword is null. If the keyword is null, return all, else return by keyword. So let's test it out. So I'm going to refresh. Meanwhile, permit me to, because we have get mapping here, and in our countries, we are going to remove this post. I'm going to remove this post. Actually, it's going to figure it out, so that's not a problem. So I'm going to refresh this, and let's see if this works. Okay, so if it works, that'll be fine. And we're going to go back to the repository to now include all the fields. So I'm going back here, and I'm going to refresh this at this point. No, so we have this place now. If I search, you see, if you look at the address bar here, you see the keyword is not assigned. Let's say we enter something, let's say AD and submit. So it's fetched it. Now, if I enter, for instance, continent North America NO, so I expect to get North America, but it doesn't find by continent because we did not include the continent field in the repository when we wrote the SQL query. So at this point, let's go to the repositories, and I'm sure you understand what to do now. So here, we can actually continue to add like clause here. I can actually copy this and just paste it. I think that may be okay, but I'm going to show you a second way to do it. So let me just copy this and just paste it one more time. So say, okay, so this one is c.continent is equal to, okay, this is fine, but to make it more brief, to reduce the lines of code, the amount of code you have to write. So let's assume I have this find by keyword one, and this is a second find by keyword. So instead of using all these, I'm going to just use only one condition. So I'm going to say concat, and I'm going to now say c dot let me start with description, c dot capital, c dot code, c dot continents. So at this point we have included 4, and I think let me see how many of them. Description, capital, code, and nationality. And nationality, c dot nationality. So at this point, this query captures everything. Okay. So if you want, you can use this one. I'm using like, I'm using or like, and include all the columns you want. But I think the concat makes a bit more sense. It makes it look code look a little bit better. So I'm going to run this now, and let's see if it actually works well. So if we go back to the page now, and I refresh this page, and I enter, let's say I search submit, it submits everything, it finds everything. But if I now enter North America, you can see it finds it. Maybe NG, it finds it for Nigeria. In this case, we have the code, and GH, maybe it finds Ghana. So this is basically how to do filtering. There's another way to do filtering using JavaScript. We're going to be talking about this a little later, but for now, let's get the basic functionality of this application. So having completed this, in the next part, we're now going to be talking about either paging or sorting of the data. So I'd like to thank you for viewing. Please remember to subscribe to my channel. And if you look at the description box of this video, you can see some other video that gave a bit more elaborate explanation on filtering using JavaScript and also using the repository query method. So I remain Kindson the Tech Pro. I would like to thank you for viewing. Leave me a comment if you have any challenge, and we'll see you in the next part.